Listening to Ed Sheeran and lighting a cinnamon candle. The life of a witch. And this song comes on. Hey, it's Maren, and this is the Tarot and Astrology forecast for the week of November 17th through the 23rd of 2019. So we'll start out with the Tarot spread. We'll do a Celtic cross. I'm going to use my Dark Angels Tarot today. I was feeling that. And then we'll get into the astrology for each day, and then we will round things out with my Law of Attraction cards set for the end to bring in some guidance. So we'll start out by pulling Celtic Cross Tarot spread and seeing what guidance comes through for our collective situation at hand. Yes, I am wearing my Virgo shirt today because if you didn't know, I'm hella Virgo, so you know, I'm feeling that way today. The moon is in Virgo as I speak, as I'm recording this, so it's a nice time. So the first card we have represents the situation at hand, and we have the Two of Swords reversed. So with this card reversed representing the situation, I think we're rethinking an idea that we once had. We're rethinking the method of coming into being, or the method that this is manifesting as. We are maybe stepping back on our word for the way that something that we've enacted is coming about. So the cross complement card we have to this, the second card, is the Knight of Swords reversed, which makes sense because the Knight of Swords reversed generally means that we are headed in the wrong direction and we're realizing that we're not actually going after what we want. The third card that we have represents the potential for the situation, and we have the Chariot reversed. The Chariot reversed is asking us to pay attention to how we're taking care of ourselves, because like the vessel for carrying us forward, which can be our physical body or whatever structure is in place, is not being attended to for a safe passageway. So the fourth card is the unconscious reason for the reading, and we have the King of Wands. And the King of Wands is fire of fire. It's the most exuberant, fiery, charismatic card basically that we could pull. So I think that we're unconsciously really wanting to make our mark. We're wanting to be egoically seen, and we're realizing that maybe the way that we're going about this is not sustainable or isn't working. So the fifth card is the recent past, and we have the Queen of Wands reversed. So the Queen of Wands reversed can indicate someone who, instead of being motivating to others, is wrathful or is not motivational. So we're like kind of discombobulated, and we feel like in the past we were not the the morally uplifting leader that we wish we were. Like, we're reanalyzing the position of power that we're placed in. The sixth card that we have is the future, and we have justice. So with justice coming forward, things will likely be balanced out in the situation we're in, and there'll be karma coming forward, whether we're on the good end or a more challenging end of that the situation will come into equilibrium. Us in the situation is represented by the seventh card, and we have the Two of Cups reversed. With the Two of Cups reversed, we generally feel betrayed or unfulfilled by another half in the relationship that we're in. The eighth card is the environment or our surroundings, and we have the Five of Wands reversed, which indicates that we're like in a strife-filled environment, and we knew that this was coming. We knew that the way that we were going about things would end up in turmoil with those around us. The ninth card is our hopes and our fears, and we have the Two of Pentacles, which generally is like a juggling or a readjustment of material situations. So we're hopeful that we're going to get material assets out of this, and we're fearful that there'll be too much to juggle. The outcome, represented by the 10th card, is the King of Cups reversed. So what's indicated as the outcome here is that we are unfulfilled by everything we're going after. I think this is a week of waking up to the fact that the way we're going about validating our ego is not sustainable in the long term and is actually making us feel a bit guilty. So as someone who like is channeling the reading, like I'm probably implicated in this too, so we're not alone. I'm gonna put away the cards and we'll get into the astrology for the week. So starting out on Sunday the 17th, The afternoon begins with a Moon-Mars square, which definitely indicates fiery tempers, the collective mood, and how we're feeling is being in an aspect of tension, in the aspect of Mars with Mars, followed by the Moon entering Leo, which definitely makes things more lighthearted, but not necessarily more rational. So expect the afternoon to be more heated, and then the evening to be like kind of more dramatic and not taking things as seriously, but still like not all calmed down. The Moon's trying to Chiron, and square to Uranus indicate that we're having an easier time opening up, but aren't necessarily having an easier time changing the way that we want to act, even though we know that we need to change in a relationship dynamic. On Monday the 18th, the Moon in Leo squares Mercury retrograde to start off the week with some honesty tension. Like there's some misunderstandings that we can keep pursuing as misunderstandings, or we can be honest about being forthright and courageous in what we see around us. Communication could take a different turn than we rehearsed it to be, like we might have a conversation prepared that just really does not end up going as planned. Later that night, Mars will ingress into Scorpio, which is his feminine yin sign home. Mars rules Scorpio, and Mars in Scorpio is kind of like the silent ninja, whereas Mars in Aries is like the machete, sledgehammer, like battle axe screaming through the woods. Mars in Scorpio is an incisive, penetrative ninja. So it brings us into our personal power to act from a place of deep truth, not to overreact just to be seen. On Tuesday the 19th, the luminaries, the sun and the moon, square off midday, which likely pretty much this aspect usually signals odds between what we feel like doing and what we feel like we should do to show off. Like feeling as if one thing would make us feel safe, but one thing would make us feel seen, and figuring out how to navigate both of those, or find a middle ground that both makes us feel safe and seen, while not compromising either like our desire for creative expression or our internal needs. The moon will trine Jupiter, which helps our inner guide take on an upswing, kind of letting us feel like, okay, my internal voice, my inner child, my little neediness feels seen, and I can make that taken care of. Then the moon ingresses into Virgo and sextiles Mars, which definitely gets the task-oriented ball rolling. We're ready to precisely and delicately go after what we need to do to honor our own needs without stepping on toes of others. Wednesday the 20th, the moon will still be in Virgo, and her dispositor, Mercury, will station direct, uplifting the collective thoughts and the mood, and the moon then sextiles Mercury, the moon's rulers, putting it in a mutual reception with its ruler, which is just a really good aspect of further providing opportunity for reconciliation and clarity on really service-oriented, humble means. Though the moon's opposition that night to Neptune might mean that we have to face true honesty in a way that makes us hesitant to see the truth. So we understand that the truth is right there up for grabs and things are very clear, and it's about us wanting to see that and face it instead of diluting out. Thursday the 21st, the Virgo moon squares Venus, which challenges us to think about what we deserve and why we think that. There's a tendency for moon square Venus to feel pouty because our needs are in contrast with what we kind of crave, and we have to figure out why we aren't letting ourselves have what we want. Why is holding ourselves back from what we want feel like that deserves a reward? The following square to Jupiter from the moon might have us inflating our ego to cover up the hurt. Like we might be like, I'm fine, things are fine, I feel fine, so I'm not going to feel hurt. Where things can be going great and we still can recognize where we are not internally settled. The sun and moon will sextile though and offer opportunity to balance out inflated superiority and inferiority, enhanced more as the moon enters Libra, so we will definitely feel a bit more as if we're neither covering up hurt by pretending to be big, and we're neither kind of dialing down our sense of pride. We're finding a middle ground, or not a middle ground, but we're finding a healthy state of being. On Friday the 22nd, the moon squares the nodal axis, asking us to see our emotional patterns as needing an upgrade in order to level up on our individual journey. So when the moon squares the nodal axis, there's often a feeling of, whoa, I really don't feel as if I'm in the right place and I need to figure out a new way around the situation. The sun enters Sagittarius, which is exciting and starts off this season of explorative descent into winter, because the mutable signs are always the last sign before the new season changes. So this means that it's the descent of autumn into winter, into barrenness, into new unexplored territory, and bluntness and expression. You did a yawn there. Bluntness and expression of self increase as the sunlight continues to decrease into Sagittarius season. And if you'd like a video on Sagittarius season in general, let me know. I would love to do a video for each season, kind of like the traditional astrological understanding of what these seasons are and how that can be applied into a spiritual self-improvement context. I would love to do that. If that sounds good, let me know. On Saturday the 23rd, the Libra moon squares Pluto, waking us up with a crisis of power tension that we must address firmly instead of sitting back to people please. Like, what is my personal power asking versus where do I want to avoid confrontation, and figuring out, like, it's not worth avoiding confrontation to sacrifice your own power. The moon then sextiles Venus and Jupiter to reward us with opportunity once we face that gateway, to harmonize once we overcome the internal fear of being seen as conflict driven. The moon then incresses into Scorpio and winds down the night on a heavier note. So I can see how this week is asking us to question the means that we've gotten to where we are, and then asking us to not necessarily regress, but to adopt a new way of honoring our personal power while still remaining beyond respectful and beyond humble to others. So with that being said, we will look at the Law of Attraction cards, see what guidance is coming up for step 1, 2, and 3, which is the layout I've been doing with these cards. So if you're familiar with Abraham Hicks, I'm doing like step 1, card 1, you know, that kind of thing. If not, I'll walk you through what each card in this reading means. These cards are so beautiful, and I'm like obsessed with them. Like they're straight from the vortex from an Abraham Hicks workshop I went to a few weeks ago, so I'm super excited to pull them out as we use them again. Okay, this makes so much sense. So the first card in this reading has to do with us asking based on contrast around us. So I see myself enjoying absolute continuing abundance. I choose absolute and continuing abundance, for I understand that there is no limit to the abundance in the universe. And so by my attracting abundance to myself, I am not limiting another. There's enough for everyone. The key is for each of us to see it and want it, and then we will each attract it. So I think we're asking how we can find the abundance that we're really craving and kind of reaching for. The second card is the universe's answer to that. So if I am resisting evil, I am attracting evil. If you are resisting anything, you are focused upon it, pushing against it and activating the vibration of it, and therefore attracting that which is like it. So the answer to this is that we need to focus less on what's going poorly around us or what feels like is not working, and simply focus on the vibration of what feels aligned in what we want to bring in. The third card in this reading is how we can allow that. And it says, I want continual joyous growth. I am a growth-seeking being, and it is exhilarating to remember that expansion is not only natural, but inevitable. I love knowing that joy is simply a choice. So since my expansion is inevitable, I choose to have it in joy. I think we have to remember that there's a quote that I really love, and it's, to improve is to change, to perfect is to change often. So we are thinking of everything that we're going through as an opportunity to level up. So even if it seems like a setback or like a re-examination, this is literally like an upgrade. And all we have to do is allow that new information to be seen as something helping us on the path of ascension, not ever a regression. So with that being said, I hope this was helpful. If it was helpful, like, subscribe, do all the things, helps out. Let me know below if this resonated with you and if this applies to your situation. I also offer private astrology consultations and would love to read for you. Otherwise, I will see you in the next week.